welcome back to Plum Mashable. So I've been teasing this one for a little while. This is going to be a bit of an introduction to the Kmart watercolour brush pens. So if you want to see what they're all about, then just keep watching. Alright, so originally what I was going to do was do this as a comparison with the Tombos and the Crayolas. What I've decided instead is to give these ones an actual video of their own, and then I'll come back and do another video with the comparison if you guys are interested in it. So these are the pens themselves. They're $6 from Kmart, and you get 12 pens, so they're basically 50 cents each. So you get a red, a pink, a yellow, an orange, a dark green, a light green, a blue, a light blue, a dark blue, a purple, a brown, a grey, and a black. And what's cool about these is that they really are a brush. Now I'm going to try and kind of spread this out so you guys can kind of see. Might have to do a bit of a zoomy thing. But it does really look like a brush as opposed to a felt tip kind of thing. So it's just something a little bit different compared to the other kind of markers that we use, but at the same time they can be used in very, very similar ways to what I do use the Tombos and the Crayolas for. So far though, I've been finding that the colour payoff in these are really, really good. So what I've gone ahead and done is done a little bit of a swatch sheet just so you can see all the different colours. Now I've used these in two different ways. The first way is always using a brush and water. You can use obviously a water brush pen, but I like using my really skinny little paintbrush, which I've lost, but there it is. So it's a teeny tiny little one that I just feel like I can get in. So I just use that with a little bit of water and that's been doing the job. And then the other thing I've been using is this. So this is a Zig Clean Color Real Brush Pen. This is what I think is a dupe. These are a dupe for. They're very, very, very similar in the way they look. And I think in the way they work. I haven't got any of the other Zigs, so I don't know 100%, but I think this is what's working. Whoops, that doesn't live in there. And this I bought off of eBay. I think it was like $8. The Zigs are really expensive. They're kind of like the Tombos and kind of like the Copics. If you want to invest in them, they're great, but they're going to cost you a bit to get all of them. So you can see on the left, that's all using the Zig. You can kind of see it blends out a little bit better, but the watercolor gives you a much more gradiated kind of look. And that's just on white cardboard, so there's nothing too special there. I just did it on plain white cardstock. And actually what I've been finding is the plain white cardstock works much better for this. So what I've gone ahead and done as well, and I will show you in a second, I have another little mouse here that I'm going to colour in with you in a second, because I do have a preferred way to do this. So the ones that I've worked out don't work so great. So this is on blending card, and this is just using Memento ink and the Kmart pens. This one's using the Zig, and this one's using the water and the brush. On the blending card, if you go straight on with the pen, so if I go straight on here, I find it really hard to then blend that out. It doesn't blend particularly well on the blending card, which is ironic. But if you pick it up, you put it over on your mat and you pick it up and you do that, you can get a little bit more colour on the blending card, but it's not the surface I'd recommend for these based on what I've been playing with. The second one was just on some watercolour paper. I'm not quite sure if this was the watercolour paper's fault or my fault, but I had so much trouble with this, it just didn't want to work no matter what I did. I did move over to VersaFine because I didn't want it to bleed. It still did a little bit, but as you can see, the blending here is just absolutely freaking horrible. So I'm not happy with those either. Stupidly enough, the things I found actually gave me the best results were just plain old cardboard. But it worked really well with both the water and the brush and the Zig blender. I think they blended out really nicely. And it just gives you a different kind of colour. So it's not as saturated and as nuanced, I guess, as the Copics. It's just a little bit more freehanding and a little bit more fun. So I'm going to show you really quickly how I kind of coloured in this one just using, I think I'll show you actually. I might just stamp out another one and do both of these again, so hold on one sec. Alright, so I've just gone ahead and stamped this little cutie out again. This is just out of Crazy Antics, which is one of my new lawn fawns. So the top one I'm going to do with the Zig colour. So all I did do, so just come in and colour where I want the darkest bits to be. So rather than doing what we do with the Copic, which is we put the colour down first and then we can sort of work up to the darkness. This one we put where we want the dark first. Oops, need a little bit more colour up here. And then we come in with the clean color, like the blender marker, and you can just sort of push that color out. So small areas are much better for this. I have done, and I'll grab it out in a second, I have done a slightly bigger kind of image, and it doesn't quite work as well. The other thing you can do, which I have been doing as well, is put this on a piece on your glass or on a piece of plastic and use it to pick up the color to sort of add a little bit more if you can't get the blend out the way you want it to. Now I'm still learning with all of this. I'm not an expert at all, but I have really been liking the difference in what this looks like compared to when you use a Copic. So you can blend it or build it up to be a little bit different. So I'm trying to do this really quick so you guys don't have to sit and watch the whole thing. But you can see here I'm working really hard to try and get that little spot to blend out, but it does eventually do it. There we go, little brown mouse. Now the other thing that's cool about these and basically any other kind of markers like these is you can kind of mix your colours together. So for this, the tummy, I don't have another brown, I don't have anything else. So I'm just going to grab the brown and the pink and just kind of pick the pink up first and then the brown, just kind of mix them together in the middle a little bit. And it'll give me a different shade. I just want to check what it looks like first. Yeah, it's fine. So it's just a little bit pinker. But that's the way to get the other colours so that it's not quite as much. Now I actually think that's a little bit too pink, so I'm just coming back over the top. So there we go, there's a little mouse. And you can do that with any of the colours if you want to change the kind of the tone of it. The greens and the blues are easy because obviously you've only got one. The pink you could just do it if you really wanted a lighter pink. Just want to show you. Let's clean the marker off before I keep going, so just scribbling it up until it comes out clean. So for the pink, if I wanted that to be a really light pink, I'd come off here and just sort of blend until it starts going a little bit lighter, and then you can come in here and you've got that lighter shade. That makes sense. So the other way that I've been using these markers is just using my little paintbrush. I'm just going to grab in a little bit of water. Just going to spray that on my mat. Obviously a container of water works too. I just don't have one handy. It's got blue on it because I've been playing with the blue. Hold on, I'll grab my little container and actually do it properly. Just a little bit of water in there because you don't need much. And then you can do the brush either way. You can either put the colour on first and blend it out, or you can put it down on your mat or on a bit of plastic and kind of use it like real watercolour paint. I just find it's a little bit harder to get a real concentration of colour doing that, so I like doing it I put it on here and then blend it out. So just again putting all the darkness on. It can be a little bit messy with these because the colour is a little bit messy anyway. So I've just got a wet brush, just tap off some of the wetness because you don't want it soaking wet. You can see here it's just blending really easily. And then if I want to add just a bit more darkness to try and blend them together, that's when you get the little bit that's sitting off to the side. Now this is using Memento ink, which will bleed just a little bit. So I probably should have waited a bit more before I added that liquid in, but anyway. You guys are getting the idea anyway. So I'm deliberately being a bit messy and a bit different because that's what you want with watercolour. You want it to be a little bit different and a little bit sort of less precise. That's how I want watercolours to be anyway. I'm sure other people prefer them to be precise, but I feel like if I want real precision and real shading and real kind of that kind of look, I'll go with my Copics instead. And then I'm just going to put in, I'm going to try a different colour combo here. I'm going to grab a little bit of that brown and a little bit of the yellow. I don't know what colour I'm going to get here. I assume I'm going to get a bit of a yellowy, browny mess. Yeah, it wasn't the colour I was looking for. I'm looking for a light brown. That's what I'm trying to pull in, a light brown instead of a dark brown. So I'm just going to water that down a bit. And then when I come in here, you can see it's just a wash. So it's a bit easier. But there you go. That pink is definitely too pink. That's using, there's the, what's it called them? The Zig brush markers. They're not. The Kmart ones. Sorry, I'll put the Zig one off to the side. I find these a lot of fun. For $6, I don't think, if you want to start playing with watercolours, if you've never played with them before, if you don't have your Tombos or your Crayolas yet, these are fantastic. You can use them for brush lettering as well, if that's sort of what you're into. I'm obviously not very good at that, so I haven't been using them for that. But I think that's really cool. I wish this had come with a blender, because obviously I went out and bought this on its own. But I reckon, honestly, I prefer the water and the brush, and even for this one I preferred the water and the brush. So maybe you don't need it, and like I said, a water brush pen will do the same job and it's probably a little bit less messy. But you can you can mix the colours together and get different kinds of shadings and bits and pieces and actually have a bit of a play with them, because they do have the primary colours all there for you to be able to play with. So that is it for this video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. Please give it that big old thumbs up if you did. Let me know if you're interested in seeing that comparison between this and the Tombos and the Crayolas, because I'd be really happy to do that and actually have sort of examples of all of them so you can have a really good look. So let me know down below or any of my social medias if that's something you want to see, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that one when it goes up. I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day and a great weekend, and I'll catch you in my next video. Sending lots of huggles. Bye!